So I wanted to talk a little bit about electroculture because there's a lot of like weird buzz about it, like in the modern day, and I don't think that there should be. Frankly, I think that it's pseudoscience, um, but I kind of just don't want to leave it at that. I want to kind of explain the background and history of electroculture because, after looking into it, I thought it was kind of interesting. I should preface this by saying that sometimes in nature, lightning will strike uh, when it's raining, and it'll fix nitrogen into the raindrops, which will fall into the soil and actively benefit the plants. And that's just awesome. And I think that um, this being true kind of lends unmerited credence to the electroculture kind of plant hack channels, because there's a lot of like tutorials, right? And like groups like energetic agriculture on Facebook that'll kind of, they have a lot of followers, and they'll give tutorials on like how to like drive a stake in the ground and like tie a wire around it and electrify it to kind of improve plant health. And will not work. And honestly, I think that there's a fair amount of risk involved too, like not to the plant, but to you. Like electricity and like fucking with it is like dangerous. Like but there's history to it. Like in the mid 1700s, there was like a lot of aristocratic scientists that were like experimenting with it. Like it's a very old idea. And Charles Darwin's grandfather, Erasmus Darwin, who was a slave trade abolitionist, which is cool, he experimented with it and talked about it. And this was in the 1700s. And then at the end of World War II, America had a lot of ammonium nitrate, which we use for bombs. And we didn't really know what to do with it, but we were like, oh shit, we can market this to farmers because it's basically what the lightning was giving the plants in nature. It died out, like electroculture died out at the end of World War II because it was made obsolete. Like it wasn't like you could realistically grow your crops better by electrifying a whole field or whatever. But you could sprinkle ammonium nitrate, or nitrogen, on your crops, and it'll definitely help them. So this is my Etsy cart, and you'll see that I have a bit of a problem. This is the most plants that I've ever bought at one time, and I'm hoping I won't get overwhelmed, but I will make a video of unboxing them and potting them up when they arrive. I'm not really doing like an ad for Etsy or these shops or anything. I don't really know how the plants are gonna be when they come, but I've been buying a lot of my plants from Etsy just because they have so many cool ones. Like I don't know how people save money when there's so many cool plants on the internet. I mean, it's not just Etsy. There's a website called Xplant that is a Korean website where if you select international shipping, there's a minimum that you have to spend, but you could get some cool plants shipped to you from Korea. I mean, we're all over. Like there's sellers from all over on that website also. But this time I went to Etsy, and I have a number of cool plants coming. 2 different euphorbia. One is obesa, which I want to kind of make a hybrid with. I think that it's cool that obesa, there's like male and female plants. Euphorbia Schoenlandia just looks really cool to me. I don't know much about it, but I'll probably do some research before it arrives. Adenium obesum is a sort of like a rite of passage plant for me, I feel, because I've seen so many greenhouses of desert plant collectors that have adeniums, and they just look really neat, and desert plants are usually right up my alley. Um, Another Codex plant, just like the Adenium, is the Siningia leucotricha, which is probably the one I'm most excited for. I just think it's so beautiful, and like the leaves are sick looking, and so are the flowers. They're sort of like trumpet like flowers, and yeah, it's a really cool Codex plant. Also, the Trichodiadema bulbosum is another Codex growing plant. I think it's an Isoaceae. I'm not positive. I can look that up after. But it is, just a cool sort of like bonsai looking Codex plant. And the one plant down here that's not a desert plant is the Stephania erecta, which, if I'm being real, it's a little outside of my comfort zone because I've heard from people online that sometimes when you buy just the bulb, it's hard to get it to like sprout sometimes, and sometimes it just won't. And you kind of have to wait for like months and give it a lot of humidity and keep it warm. Um, so I'm hoping that I can grow it alongside my cactus and just water it more often. Uh, Granted, I'm not going to be able to give it the high humidity that it takes to sprout it its whole life. Like, I kind of try to keep my places dry as a bone because I'd grow desert plants and I don't want fungus, I don't want mold, I don't want pests and certain things that arise when you've got a bunch of organic matter wet all the time. Um, Philobolus resurgens, one of the ones that I'm least confident in my ability to take care of because it is in the Isoaceae family. But if you look it up, it's one of like the weirdest looking plants. Like its leaves just look like crystalline. There's little beads of water all over it, but there isn't, and it's just a really cool looking plant. So I hope I can keep it alive. I have a bad track record, like I was saying, with members of the Isoaceae family. They're really challenging for me to grow sometimes in an indoor setup like this. Like, if I were to try to grow lithops, say for example, I would have to observe its dormancy. I couldn't just grow it forever on the same light cycle like I can with a lot of things like cacti. And so uh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to have to observe some sort of dormancy with the Trichodiadema and the Philobolus, but we'll see. I believe both of them are going to be true tests of my abilities, and so is the Stephania erecta. But that's what it's all about, giving yourself a challenge. I'm open to it, and I'm accepting the challenge. I mean, if even a couple of these I'm able to get growing and get big, that'd be awesome. It'd be no sweat off my back. I mean, it's if you go down the list of these plants that they're not the cheapest thing in the world, but they're also giving me a lot of joy. So I think they're worth it.